welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new set, Eggstraordinary Easter, and its coordinating dies. And we're also going to be introducing the Eggstraordinary Easter add-on and its coordinating dies. These sets work great on their own and they're really fun to combine together. So let's go ahead and check them out. First up, we're going to take a look at Eggstraordinary Easter, and these little bunnies holding this big decorated Easter egg is just too cute. Then we have one bunny that's in the middle of decorating the egg, and then this little guy peeking out from behind the egg is my favorite. We have a hopping bunny and then some cute little chicks that are really fun for setting the scene. And we have the little chicks in 3 different styles, and I love the little one that looks like he's kind of squawking. We also have a sweet little butterfly that I love adding up into the sky in my scenes, and then a paint bucket for that little bunny that's painting his Easter egg. We have a cute little flower for the bunnies or chicks to hold, and then an individual flower to help set the scene. And then these little individual pieces of grass that you can kind of tuck behind and in front of the Easter eggs. There's also a cute little music note that I love for around the birds, and then this fun hopping line that you can add behind the bunny, and then some little swirls that you can add behind the flying butterfly, which are so cute. We have some cute little phrases here. We have Happy Easter, and then we also have Peekaboo, which is really cute with the bunny that's hiding from behind the egg. We have Chirp for the cute little birds, and then we also have Hop for that hopping bunny and Flutter for the little butterfly. And then we have a great mix and match sentiment, so we have both Happy Easter, or you can change it to Happy Spring, depending on your card. Now it's time to add some color to these adorable images, and I'm going to be using my Copic markers. And for the bunnies, I always like starting off with the little pink in their ears and on their nose, and then I add my color surrounding that. In this case, I'm going to be using some really light E40s, and I really love this mix because it kind of reminds me almost like of the Velveteen Rabbit kind of look. I just think it's so pretty. And you can see there that I took away the darkest marker because I wasn't really using it. So I'm using a lot of really light markers to help blend it out, and then that colorless blender to keep it kind of white in the center. And then of course they need some rosy cheeks too. And then now we're going to add some color to the Easter egg. And this is really fun because you could use anything in your imagination. It's just like decorating Easter eggs at home, right? So you could use any colors, you could match pattern paper, you could use somebody's favorite colors, you could get inspired. I actually Googled some Easter eggs and just kind of saw how people had decorated them. So I think this is just really, really fun to do. And it's already making me excited to decorate Easter eggs with my son. He had such a blast doing it last year that he has been talking about it for almost an entire year, so he's going to be really excited to do this soon. So I'm going to add some purple here and then just kind of blend that out, and then we'll fill in those last little stripes with some yellow, and this is just such a fun combo. Once again, you can really play around and have a lot of fun. I went ahead and added all the pink into the ears and the noses so then I could start adding some more color to the bunnies, and now I'm going to use some E50s, which is another favorite for bunnies. And I have to say, well, number one, I love bunnies. I love Peter Rabbit. I love bunnies. They're just so cute and sweet. And they're one of my favorite critters to color. I don't know why, but I just think it's so fun. And on this little guy, I decided to leave him with a little white belly. So I kind of drew like a little curved line, and I made sure I didn't add any marker beyond that line, and that gives him that cute little white belly that is so sweet. And then now here I'm going to add some color to this Easter egg. And I started coloring this color. I wasn't so sure about it, so I went over it with another marker. I kept going over it, and I actually think in the end it turned out okay, but I just kept going back and forth with it. But I think it's kind of cute. I mean, that's the fun of Easter eggs, right? Is they all turn out kind of like a surprise, and it's the same way with these Easter eggs too. I love the scalloped Easter egg, and what I'm doing is adding my darkest marker above each of the scallops, and then I'm blending it out with my medium and then into the light. And I think this is just such a pretty color combo. And then we're going to add kind of this corally pink to the scallops, and I think it's just such a pretty look. I think it would be fun to color each of the scallops in a different color too. A way to quickly color your Easter bunnies is to leave the Easter bunnies white, and I like to add just a little bit of a warm gray marker, or even any gray, really a neutral gray or anything, and then just blend it out just a little bit, and it gives the bunny a little bit of shadow, but he still looks like a white bunny, and I think that's so cute and sweet. Now I'm going to be using the same yellow that I used on the Easter eggs for the little chicks, and I think that's really cute because it's going to help everything coordinate on my card. And then for this guy, I decided to do something a little bit different and turn him into a bluebird. Now for the butterfly, I'm also using the same markers that I used on that first Easter egg. I just think it's fun to kind of coordinate everything together, and since my markers are already out, I just kind of reach for the ones right in front of me. And then now we're going to color in that little paint bucket, some purple as well, and then some gray for that bucket as if it's kind of like a little, metal bucket. And then we've got our cute little flowers there and our grass. And now that all of these images are colored in, we're going to take a look at the Extraordinary Easter add-on. And this add-on has this cute little bunny who's great on his own, but it's really fun to combine him with the other bunnies in the main set. And then it has a plain Easter egg. And there's a lot of fun ways to decorate that Easter egg, and we're going to be showing you that throughout the video. We've also got a little carrot and a heart, and then this Happy Easter sentiment that I love because you can color it in, and I think that's just so fun. And then we have a lot of mix and match sentiments in this stamp set. So we have a You Are or Hope Your Day Is, and then we have Extra Amazing. So you can mix and match them depending on what you need. We also have Eggstraordinary, which is super cute. And then Some Bunny Wishes You. And then you could say a or an depending on what you're going to add afterwards. Once again, lots of fun mix and match. And then you could say Happy Easter, which is so cute, or extraordinary. So you can kind of mix and match once again and bring that extraordinary back or the extra amazing back too. And then you can go ahead and stamp Easter. So you could say Some Bunny Wishes You an Extra Amazing Easter. Super cute. And of course, we have an exclamation point to add to the ends of your phrases. Now I'm going to use some Copic markers to add some color to these images. I'm going to use the E40s for this little bunny, and I'm adding a little shadow kind of there around his head and chin, and then just blending that out, keeping it lighter towards the center of his face so you can really see his cute little nose there, which is so sweet, and then some rosy cheeks, of course. And then for the egg, I decided to color it like a real egg, but you could also paper piece it with pattern papers. You could draw your own designs, you could stamp your own designs, or you could actually stamp your sentiment inside of the egg, which is really, really a fun look for your card. Now here I'm adding some kind of like gradient colored letters there in some pretty Easter colors. So I'm adding the darker color towards the bottom and then lighter color towards the top, and I think that looks so pretty for this sentiment. Now here are the coordinating dies for Extraordinary Easter, which you can bend apart at the tabs or use your wire snips to separate. We're going to take those dies and line them up with our stamped images. We can hold it in place with some low tack tape. We'll run it through the die cut machine and we'll have perfectly cut out images every time. And then here is a look at all of the images in this set, and they are just so cute and so fun to mix and match. So you can have that cute little bunny hopping with that hopping trail. You can have the little paint bucket by the guy that's decorating his Easter egg, and you can put those little grasses around your eggs. You could add a flower into the bunny's hair, or you could have the bunny hold that little tulip. And you can really create these cute scenes and have the little trail behind the butterfly. It's so cute and fun. And then these are the images from the Extraordinary Easter add-on. You have the cute little individual bunny, the plain egg, and that adorable little carrot. And here is a look so that you can see all of these together. So you can see how you could layer different scenes. You could layer that extra egg in the background to create a more full scene on your card. You can add that cute little bunny there, which is so adorable, and have him hanging out with one of the chicks. And you can have the little bunnies hold the carrot or add the carrots into your scene. So there are a lot of fun things you can do with these adorable stamps when you mix them together. So now it's time to start creating some cards, and we're going to be creating a slimline card. So we have die cut a stitched slimline rectangle, and we're going to be doing some heat embossing of our sentiment and then some inking of our sky. And I am recreating a card by Callie today, so thank you so much, Callie. And these images are kind of larger images, and so they look really fantastic on slimline cards. So we're going to be stamping the Hope Your Day is Extraordinary, and all those mix and match sentiments are really easy to match up because they have the same size rectangle base. So you just put them right up against each other and they'll be the perfect size sentiment with the perfect spacing. So we're going to stamp in that clear embossing ink, and then we'll sprinkle on some white heat embossing powder, and we're going to heat that up with the heat tool. And then as we start to ink the sky over it, that embossed sentiment is going to resist the ink, and that way you'll have this really pretty white embossed sentiment at the top, but this really awesome gradient sky. So we're going to start off here with some salvaged patina, and we're going to fill in kind of like the whole sky area of this card, and then I'm going to use peacock feathers for the outside just to create a little bit of darkness on the outside, and then it goes into light towards the center. Then I'm going to come in with a dry cloth and I'm just going to buff off those letters just in case there's any extra ink kind of stuck on the letters. And you can see as I do that, that sentiment really starts to pop. Then here I have a spray bottle with just some plain water, and I'm going to spray some of those sprays right on to my card there, and it's going to create some texture in the sky. At first I was doing it with my cloth, but I decided to use a paper towel to really help me pick up a little bit more of that ink, and I really like how that looked. And then I just added a little bit more of that peacock feathers to the top because I had added a little bit too much water towards that area. Now we need some grass for our cute scene. So I've die cut that same sized slimline rectangle and we're going to use the Grassy border die. And this die was originally made for standard size cards, so it's not quite long enough for a slimline, but that's okay because it's really easy to line up. So we're going to die cut some of the grass and then you'll see I'm just going to line up one point of the grass with the other point of the grass at the bottom and it's going to line up perfectly. And if for some reason yours didn't line up perfectly, it's just the perfect place for some embellishment. You could add a little bird or a bunny, it would be adorable. So now we're going to use some twisted citron and mowed lawn for the grass. And this is my favorite green combo for grass. So I'm going to start all over with that twisted citron, kind of a limey green. And then we're going to bring up the mowed lawn there from the top, going down towards the bottom, leaving some of that limey green showing. And then so that everything kind of coordinates, we're going to spray some water with the water bottle and then pick it up with the paper towel. I let the ink dry on both of my pieces and now we can add some tape runner to the back of the grass and layer that on to our card front and we can start decorating with the Extraordinary Easter stamp set and also the Extraordinary add-on. I'm going to use that cute little individual bunny and those carrots. And I'm going to be adding a lot of foam squares behind everything because a lot of pop. I think it just looks amazing. And so we're going to put the two guys carrying the egg in the middle because that's one of the bigger images. And then we're going to add the little guy peeking out from behind lower down. We'll add our individual bunny from the add-on there, and then we can layer a cute little chick next to him, which I think looks adorable, and another little chick next to the egg. And then I'm going to start tucking in little elements like the grasses and the carrots, and it's these little things that I think really make the card feel so special. I also love the butterflies in the sky too. So sweet and so cute. And I don't know, something about tucking in those little grasses just makes everything look adorable. And those grasses, I love using them on all sorts of cards. I'm always bringing out stamp sets that have those little grasses so that I can add them to any of my scenes. I'm going to add a couple little flowers around in the ground just to give that fun little springy feel. And then I've die cut another stitched rectangle. It's the largest of the slimline rectangles out of some white cardstock to be this really pretty frame. And I like the look of the double stitching. I think it's really pretty and just feels springy and Eastery to me for some reason. Then all we need is a slimline card base, which is 3.5 by 8.5. It's going to fit in a business size envelope with standard postage, which is amazing. So we're going to take that whole scene and we're going to layer that on to the card base. And this card is all done. So cute, so sweet. I just love this little scene and I think slimline cards are just so much fun. Next up, we're going to be recreating a card by Elena that is so cute, and she brought in some extra elements from other stamp sets that I thought was just so much fun. So we have a bunch of images from Extraordinary Easter, but we also have some clouds, and those are going to come from All the Clouds. We also have the plain egg that's going to come from the Extraordinary Easter add-on. Oh, there's that all the clouds right there. And then that little flag is from the new Elephant Parade stamp set. So I like that it's really fun that you can bring in elements from your favorite stamp sets to help fill your Easter scenes. We're also going to take that cute little stitched heart from the So Very Mice and we're going to be stamping that onto the plain egg. And you can imagine that you could shop your stash and look for cute images that would be really awesome to add onto the eggs. Maybe it could be little swirls and it would look like swirl designs or a star or a smiley face, so many things. So you could have some really, really cute ways to use some extra images from your sets. Now this stamp set has a Happy Easter that's stacked, but I wanted to use each phrase separately, so I'm just going to take my scissors and trim it in half. And that's totally okay because now we can use it in a little bit of a different way, and then we can just stack them right back up if you want it to be in that orientation. So we're going to stamp the Happy there, and then we're going to stamp the Easter onto the flag, and then add some color into this heart there, just so that this egg has a little bit of a pop on our card, and it's going to have a nice special design. So I'm going to take my markers and just blend that pink out. Now it's time to start working on the base for our scene, and we're going to be using this What's Sewing on paper for the sky, and I think this is such a cute look, especially on springy cards. So this paper has both beautiful florals and also these fun kind of like stitch designs, and they make really cool skies and grasses for your scenes. So we're going to trim down this paper from the 6x6 pad to be 5.5 by 4.25, and then we're going to be die cutting the largest stitched rectangle frame, and we're going to die cut that out of some white cardstock. Then in the bronze textured cardstock, there's a really light kind of neutrally brown paper, and we're going to end up using that for the grass. And I love how Elena did this. I wouldn't normally have thought of this color, and I think it looks really, really pretty for a spring card. So we've die cut that with a grassy border, and that grass is going to go onto this beautiful kind of like stitched purpley blue sky. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of the frame, and right now I'm just kind of measuring exactly where I want my grass to go. We're going to put the grass up a little bit high because that's where our scene's going to be, and then below that we're going to have our sentiment. And then I just trimmed off some of the excess because I had made the grass just a little bit too long. Next, we're going to add some foam strips behind this frame, and I love these little foam strips because they're the perfect width to go behind our frames. So we're going to layer that all around and then just have some normal form squares behind the grass. And then right here is when I realized that I wanted to trim this paper down because I didn't want to see it below the grass. So I'm actually just using my whole card base as a guide. I'm just going to shift it in my paper trimmer and then just trim off that bottom part. I can save that piece for another card, and now the sky is only going to be above the grass. And then here I have my standard size card base at 5.5 by 4.25. We're going to add some tape runner behind that pattern paper and put it up towards the top of the card base. And then we can peel up the liner paper on all of those foam strips and squares and layer this piece on top. And I think this is a really cool look that I'm going to try for other scenes because it kind of brings your scenes to the top of the card, and then you have this really cool place to fit your sentiment. I think it's a really cool layout. I added some tape runner behind each of these three little egg images, and I'm going to layer them as a little trio there. And then once I have it all layered, then I'm going to add my foam squares behind, because that way I knew exactly the placement that they were going to be, and I can just peel up that liner paper and then add that right onto the card. And you can see how cute it is to mix the add-on egg with the other eggs in the original set. We're going to add that hopping bunny, and it's going to look like he's almost like laying over the top of the egg, and I think that's really, really cute. And then now we can start using some of the other elements to help set the scene, like those cute little birds, and they look adorable on the top of the egg. And then a little paint bucket because our little guy is decorating the egg, right? And then we're going to use all the clouds to add some clouds into the sky. I love that set because it has all the different sizes, so you can find the perfect size for your scene. And then to complete the scene, we're going to add that cute little flag that comes from the Elephant Parade stamp set that we stamped the Hoppy Easter in, and I think it just looks absolutely adorable, and I love the idea of using that flag in a bunch of different styles of cards. And then now we're going to go to the Extraordinary Easter add-on stamp set, and it has a bunch of sentiments in it that are just perfect for every Easter card. And so I'm going to mix and match some of those phrases there, and we're going to stamp out "Hope your day is extra amazing" in some black licorice ink, and then I'm going to use a sentiment banner die to die cut it. So we'll run that through the die cut machine, and then to give it a little bit of pop, I'm using a really light blue marker and just going all over the edges of the banner. And it just kind of makes the white pop in the center and makes it feel special and go along with all of that pretty coloring that we have on the rest of the scene. And then we can layer that between the grass line and the white area, and I think this card is so cute. I had so much fun making it, and I love this layout, Elena, and I can't wait to try it on more cards. Next up, we are going to be creating a interactive pull and pop pull tab card with this awesome Extraordinary Easter stamp sets. And so we're going to be doing some paper piecing for our Easter eggs. And this is such a fun way to use up scraps and to give a really cool look to the Easter eggs. So in the add-on, we have that plain Easter egg, and you can see that you can stamp it on the different patterns, and it kind of decorates the egg for you. And I think it is such a cute and fun look. Then we're going to use the coordinating die to die cut these, and you can see just how cute they look. Oh my goodness. Now, Rebecca is creating this card. Thank you so much, Rebecca, because this card is so cute. And as she took a look at this, she thought it might be fun to mix it up between the stripes and the dots. So we're going to take the What's Sewing on paper and stamp in that. And you can see that there are a bunch of fun designs that would look amazing for the Easter eggs. But this cute little stripes and stars looked just perfect and would be a nice mix and match to the stripes and dots that we have from the stripes and sprinkles paper. So we're going to stamp that and die cut that as well, and then we can add it to our eggs that we're going to put onto the card. So speaking of what's sewing on, this is another paper from that collection, and we're going to be die cutting that with the second largest of the large stitch rectangles, if that makes sense. So we're going to die cut that with a stitch rectangle, and I just love those little stitched elements. It kind of reminds me of a sunny sky, and you can see how these little Easter eggs are going to look adorable on this. We're also going to be taking out the pull and pop pull tab, and this is the slot creating piece, and we're going to be adding that onto the card. And there's going to be a trio of eggs that's going to be moving. And so we're using that egg there as a guide on that little slot creating piece. Once the eggs are in a nice placement, we know that our slot creating piece is in the right place, and we can hold that in place with some low tack tape and run it through the die cut machine. And if you have never made a pull and pop pull tab before, make sure to check out our intro video for more detailed instructions. You can see the link in the description below. So this is the main pull tab piece and the stabilizer piece, and we're going to die cut that from the same pattern paper so that everything coordinates. On that main pull tab piece, there are some score lines, and there's one that goes through that kind of like T shape right there, and we need to fold against that line. And one of my favorite ways to fold delicate folds like this is to fold it up against a ruler. It makes it nice and easy to do. And then we can just go ahead and secure that fold and crease it really well with the bone folder. We've folded that fold towards ourselves, so the top fold, we're going to fold that away from ourselves, creating kind of like a Z fold, and you can kind of see what that looks like there. The stabilizer piece also has some fold lines, and we're going to make a Z with that too, folding one away from ourselves and one towards ourselves, and then we'll use the bone folder to crease those really well. Now it's time to add the pull tab into our main piece here. So we're going to flip that one over, and we're going to flip the pull tab over. We're going to feed the longer part through the bottom slot, and the shorter part is going to go through the top slot. And when you hit that little kind of like shorter T, we're going to feed those right through just like that. And so we're going to show you that again. So we're just going to feed it right out like that. You'll see that this is the front of the pieces. We're going to flip them both to the back. It's really easy with the pattern paper because you can tell you're on the back of both of those. We'll feed the bottom one through the bottom slot, the short one through the top slot, and then feed those notches through. Super, super easy. And now our pull tab is in perfect placement. We're going to add some tape runner to that little stabilizer piece, and then we're going to attach that right over the slot there. So you can see we're going to attach that right there, leaving the little tiny sliver of paper peeking through. Then we can fold that piece down, add a little bit more adhesive above the fold line, and then we can press that main pull tab piece down, securing those together. Next, we've trimmed down a piece of cardstock to be the same exact size as that panel, and we're going to adhere that to that panel. And we're going to add some adhesive along the top and the bottom and just a little bit on the sides, creating almost like a U shape on both of those. And the reason for that is you need to have some space for this mechanism to move. So we don't want to put adhesive everywhere. And this is going to secure it perfectly. So we're going to attach that down, and now you can start to see how that pull tab is going to move. Now we're going to work on adding a scene on to this pull tab. So we're going to die cut with that same size stitched rectangle, some really shimmering green cardstock. And we're going to be then cutting this with one of our simple grassy hillsides. So it's a nice little hill there, and it's going to be a perfect place for our scene. And so what I like to do is just take a look, and we want to make sure that that grass is going to cover up the slot where the pull tab is kind of exiting there. And so you can kind of eyeball it just like that, and then run it through the die cut machine, and now you're going to have that grass, and you'll see that it's going to cover that slot, and it's going to help kind of bring the whole pull tab into your scene. Now, next, we're going to start adding this on to a card base, and we're going to use some of the stripes and sprinkles paper, and I love how well the what's sewing on and stripes and sprinkles go together. So we're going to add this as our main card base here. And then we're going to add some foam squares to the back of our whole pull and pop mechanism, and we can layer that onto this card base. So it's going to be a standard size card base with this smaller stitched rectangle in the middle, and I really like it because we're really going to be able to see those pretty stripes. Now that we've added this to the card base, we can start working on the pull tab. You'll notice that the pull tab is really long, and we do that so that you could place your pull tab all over on different places on your card, higher up, lower down, etc. But in this case, we don't need all of that extra pull tab, so we're going to line it up with the card base there, and we're just going to trim off any of the excess. And then we have this pull tab decorator piece. So we're going to die cut that same pretty striped paper and we're going to layer that over the top. And the way we're going to do that is by lining it up with the bottom pull tab. You're going to pull the pull tab all the way out. And then I'm just going to make a little mark there between those two slots, kind of right in the center. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you can trim off the excess of the decorative piece and we'll add some tape runner to that. And then all you need to do is feed it into the slot until it's lined up with the bottom of your pull tab. And at this point, I always like to check that my mechanism is working. Plus, it's just kind of fun to play with, and it's working perfectly so we can keep on decorating. We're going to add our grass, and we're adding just a little bit of adhesive. We don't want to add too much because, once again, we don't want to get in the way of the mechanism of the pull and pop pull tab. And so you can see there that Rebecca's actually laying it right onto the card to make sure that she's got that adhesive in the right place. And then we can layer it right over top. And isn't that so amazing because it's kind of blending the whole thing into the card design. Now, the idea that Rebecca had was to have a pile of eggs that are going to move up and there's going to be a surprise underneath. So we're going to add some tape runner to that piece above the folded line there, which is on that pull tab mechanism. And then we're going to layer these adorable eggs on top. So we're going to add the cute little striped one, the one with the wet sewing on paper, and then we'll add this little dotted egg. And we had die cut a lot more eggs. They're going to be perfect for another card. And here you can see just how cute that is looking. It's absolutely adorable. And now we have the really fun part, which is deciding what we're going to hide underneath these eggs. So we have the Extraordinary Easter stamp set and the add-on, and Rebecca went ahead and stamped, colored, and die cut a bunch of the images, and we are going to hide this adorable little bunny under the eggs. It's just so super cute. And of course he has to have a little friend with him, so we're going to add that little chick, and then we can add some things to help set the scene. So we're going to add that little grass there and a little carrot. And then right now we can kind of test and see, are the eggs covering up everything, and it's looking great. So now we're going to add a little bit to the scene on the outside. And by doing that, I think it makes it even more of a surprise that something's hidden underneath because it kind of feels like, oh, this is the card. But when you pull the tab, you're going to get this great surprise. So we're going to add the cute little bird holding the flower, little carrot, little grass, so super cute and sweet. And then we're going to add some clouds. These are from the brand new Fly High stamp set. A lot of stamp sets have clouds in them, or you can use all the clouds to help fill your scenes. And these little clouds look so, so great. And now you can see as we pull the tab, you have that fun little surprise and it kind of helps fill in the rest of the scene. I love that so much. And then right here we have the Happy Easter sentiment and we colored that like we did at the beginning of the video. And we're going to be using a sentiment banner die to die cut this. And you can see that this banner die is a bit too long for that phrase, but that's okay because we can run it through the die cut machine. And then what we're going to do is just line up that banner with the very end of the word to create a custom banner that's going to be the perfect size for this exact sentiment. Then we can hold that in place with some tape and we'll run it through the die cut machine. And then we're going to have this great little banner and we're going to be layering that right on the top. And I like how the banner is going to go between the main panel and the card base. I think that looks really cute and it kind of ties it all together. And I love the different colored in letters. And now this card is all done. And oh my goodness, is this not the cutest thing you've ever seen? The little bunny hiding from behind the eggs. It just makes me smile. It's so fun and so cute. And I am just in love with this card. So thank you so much, Rebecca. Next up, Shari is going to be making a platform pop-up card that is so cute. So take it away, Shari.
I'm creating a platform pop-up card today using the new Extraordinary Easter and the Extraordinary Easter add-on. I've already colored and cut out my images using the coordinating dies. And then to create my platform pop-up, I'm going to be using a piece of the 4-leaf clover Watercolor Wishes paper. I've just cut that down to 2 6x6 squares, and I'll cut 2 of those platform pop-up pieces with the darker green for the outside of my box. Then I'm going to use my leftover scraps from cutting those out to cut out some of these little hillsides to add into the platform pop-up, as well as the simple stitched hillside that comes in the platform pop-up. I cut the grass and the hill, not sure what I wanted to use, but I decided to use the little simple hill so that all of them matched with the stitching. Now I've cut out all those T pieces for the platform pop-up, so I have 3 of them, and I'm just adding a little bit of double-sided adhesive tape to the top of the T. This is where I'm going to stick my little hillsides. And I like to pull that liner paper off and then lay this flat on my desk and adhere it to the back side of the hill. So that one that I've already done, that is the hill that's going to be in the back. This one's going to be in the middle. And then my little simple one, that's just the arch, that will be in the front, in the foreground. Now I will fold each of these pieces on the score line that the die creates. You can see I've already folded the first one. I'm doing the exact same thing to the second one. And then I will add some double-sided adhesive tape to the little tab. So we have the little tab that is part of the outside of the box, and then there is the big tab that helps close the top of the platform. And I just want to make sure I don't have any pieces hanging off, so I'll just trim that with my scissors, and then I'll add a piece to that long tab as well. Now I can go ahead and assemble my box by pulling off the liner paper from this big tab, and then I'm just going to fold it up so that it adheres to the inside of that box. Then I can pull the liner paper off one little tab, line these up with my grid mat, and fold that over, closing one side together. And then before I completely close my box up, I'm going to add my little hillsides. So this is the one that goes in the front, and I've just folded along the little score line at the bottom of the T. I'm adding a little bit of adhesive tape, and then I'll pull that off and tuck that down inside the hole. Now I have this flip so that it faces towards the front of my box. And then that little tab will just adhere to the bottom. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the back, to the other side. So I folded it in the other direction. I'm going to pull that liner paper off, and then this one is going to face towards me because this is the back of the box. And then for the one in the center, I can just cut off that little tab piece and add some adhesive directly to the back. And this is just going to go right on the face of these two pieces. They're just going to sandwich it together. So I'll go ahead and put that tape onto the face of that rectangular piece where these two will sandwich together. And then I can pull off all these liner pieces and stick this middle hillside in the center, and I'll just line it up with the one behind it. This is wider in the middle, and I don't have a little slot as a go-by, so I'm just using the hill in the back as my go-by for where to line it up so it's even. Then I can finish my box by closing it up, and then I'll just finish off by adhering this little tab. And then I have my little platform pop-up with those hillsides. I did think it was a little bit plain when I started laying my images on there, so I'm just going to pull out my Grassy border stencil and add a little bit of jalapeno ink with my blending brush. So it would be a little easier to do this before it's all assembled, but I wasn't sure what I wanted, and this just adds a nice little touch. So I'm just making sure to hold it in place while I stencil. And now I have a little grassy border along the bottom, which I think really helps set the scene for the pieces that I'm going to put down there. I'm also going to add some splatters of watercolor paint to add a little more texture and interest. So I'm adding some white watercolor paint, just some small drops, and then I'm also going to add some dark green. And that just adds some more texture to this paper. Then I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and for this I'm stamping it directly onto the box. You could use one of the little stitched labels that you can cut with the die, but I thought this Happy Easter fit perfectly on the front, and it stamps just so nicely right there on the box. And then I'm adding my little bunny images. So I've got that little bunny that's just sitting on the left side, and then I have my pot of paint with a little bird on the right side. I thought it would be cute if he was standing up on that, so it was tall like the bunny on the left. Makes it nice and balanced. And then I'm adding my little bunnies with the eggs. So this guy is going to go in the front. This one that's peeking out on the right side I thought would be perfect on the right. I'm just varying where my images go so that they don't block each other too much. And you can see I'm making this one a little bit taller. He's up on that high hill. And then for the one in the back, I've just cut a strip of acetate and I'm adding some glue dots because this one's jumping. So I thought it would be really cute to pop him up in the back like he is hopping over the little hills. That way he also will be seen really nicely and not be hidden by that rabbit in the front with the big egg. So I'm just trimming this down to make it the height that I want it to be. And then I will add a glue dot to the front of the acetate. I like to add 2 because I think it adds a little more stabilization. It can't pivot on that one dot. And then I'm going to just stick it to the back of that hillside in the back. And now we have this cute little hopping rabbit in the background, which I just think is adorable. I also have these little tulips that I colored and cut out, and I'm just going to add those around on the box for a little more decoration. I'm just popping those on the different layers. Just kind of looks like they were just tossed about. Now I did feel like it needed a background, so I pulled out the platform pop-up add-on and cut a piece of blue spiffy speckles paper. And now I'm using the new cloud background stencils. There are 2 of these, and I'll be stenciling with some blue ink for a tone-on-tone look for my sky. So I have some mermaid ink and I've done that first layer, and then I'm going to line up the second layer, and there are little etchings of the clouds so you can line them up and overlap them perfectly. And then I'm coming in with that same ink and adding another layer of clouds. And I like that where they overlap it is going to be a little bit darker. And once I pulled this off, I felt like I had some voids that I wanted to fill. So I'm just going to shift it around and find a little cloud to fill those 2 little spots. Now I can add a piece of adhesive tape right to the very bottom of the back of this piece. And that's going to fit right inside the lip of the platform pop-up perfectly. And I do like to kind of push it down with my fingernail, make sure it is nice and stuck down. Then I'm going to fold it on those folds, make sure my folds are nice and sharp, and then pull that liner paper off and then tuck it right inside that scalloped edge on the back. And it's going to set right on top of that platform. And then what I like to do to make sure that I can give it some nice pressure and make sure everything's stuck down is I actually close my box and then I press it to make sure it's nice and stuck down. And then of course nothing is complete without a little bit of glitter, and I always do my glitter at the end. For a card like this you want to make sure that it's dry before you close it up, so I'll just set this aside to dry before I flatten it. So once that glitter's all dry, you can see it lays nice and flat, so you can send it to your favorite person for Easter, and then it pops up and you have those cute little bunnies with the eggs. I really love that one hopping in the back on that little strip of acetate.
This platform pop-up is so cute, and I love that little hopping bunny too. And next up we have some incredible cards by the design team, and I love this card by Audrey. The rainbow in the background is so gorgeous, and I love the happy colors. This card by Maureen is so pretty. I love that she used rainbow colors on her eggs, and I can't wait to try that too. Grace created a magic picture changer that is so cute. So as you pull the tab, you get this fun little surprise of the bunny peeking out from behind the egg, and I think it is just the cutest thing. Next up, we have a card by Megan that's so sweet, and I love how she used those say cheese frames. It looks adorable on the Slimline card. And then here is the card by Callie that inspired us to make ours today, and it is too cute. I love the Slimline style. I love how Elise stamped the egg on all of the different what's sewing on papers. This is such a cute idea. And here, Kara decided to stamp her sentiment in one of the eggs, which is so cute, and she used the secret garden window to frame her bunny, and I love the look. And then this card by Elena is the one that inspired us to make our card today too, and I just love it. And then here, I love how Kara used the giant Easter messages in the background. So sweet with all of the little Easter bunnies surrounding it. And then this card by Rebecca is so beautiful. I love the rainbow background and that secret garden window. So we cannot wait to see what you guys create with these 2 sets, so make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!